Over on defense again, Drake Jackson is a wild card for this team. And this might be put up or shut up for Drake Jackson. When you look at what he was thought of coming into last season, everyone was starting to put Drake Jackson as, man, we should start Drake Jackson over Clelin Ferrell. And of course, I was pretty consistent as I knew Clelin Ferrell was going to start because he was the better run stopper. He's a better edge defender when it came to stopping the run game. And then Drake Jackson was going to be your pass rush help. Now, I knew that Drake Jackson wasn't going to be that guy because I thought Clelin Ferrell was going to hold up and have enough pass rush. But Jackson came in, and he really came in gangbusters early on in the season. And if you go back and you watch like the first 4 games of the season, Drake Jackson had some moments where he looked really good. Some first step quickness, a little under move with that rip, a couple of really good things, changing direction on offensive tackles. There were some really good moves from Drake Jackson. And it's like, woo, that is what we're looking for. The problem is there's also other film where he gets stymied, where he never moves. Offensive tackles collapse him to the ground. He gets blown up all the way to the sideline. There are things like that you see and you're like, ooh, and then you see good. So what are we going to get from Drake Jackson? He's an absolute wild card. We don't know what we're going to get from Drake Jackson. Are we going to get the guy that makes those big-time plays, or are we going to get the guy that absolutely gets handled? I think that's the question mark. If he hits, 49ers got themselves another extremely good edge rusher. You're looking at a team that is just absolutely loaded when it comes to defensive end. If he doesn't, well, then it's all going to fall onto Robert Beal. And Robert Beal only played 60 snaps last year. Not exactly the biggest sample size to see what he is, but all the hype coming into the season, GTFO, he's going to get off the ball, he's going to make plays in the backfield. And then we didn't quite get to see it. Every once in a while you would see him out there and he would make a couple plays, but 49ers pretty much went with a 3-man rotation for most of the playoffs. Nick Bosa rarely came off the field. Chase Young rarely came off the field. And the only time they did was when Randy Gregory was going in. So I don't think we can say Robert Beal is a proven commodity. That's for sure. So Robert Beal's another wild card. The 49ers have 2 wild cards at defensive end. And we're wanting one of these guys to hit. If one of them hits, this 49ers defensive line becomes elite at the edge rusher position. Because now you have a full rotation where you can go Bosa, Floyd, and then Gross Matos, and then one of these guys, Beal or Jackson. Now, the ultimate embarrassment and riches is if both hit. And then all of a sudden you're looking at these guys, you're like, wow, we're 5 deep at defensive end. We can withstand a little bit of an injury. Or we can go out there and we can do some really cool stuff with our NASCAR package. But one of them has to hit. And opportunity hasn't exactly been there for Beal. But because we haven't seen it, we just don't know who he is. Now, I can go back and watch Georgia film, and I have. And I can go back and watch some of the games he played during the season, and I can see some things I really like. I think he's going to be better against the run than a lot of people think he's going to be. And I saw some first step quickness and some good hand placement, hand fighting, and he showed enough with his long arm to be able to get a push and drive people back. He's got a little bit of a bull rush, so the power of speed combination was more so than I expected in his rookie year. So I'm optimistic. Same with Drake Jackson. I'm still optimistic, but I'm concerned because he had the injury. I don't know when he's going to be ready. I think there's a likelihood he might miss the entire training camp. Now, we'll see. Maybe he'll get out there. But those guys are wild cards if there were ever wild cards for this 49ers team, and they need one of them to hit. If they hit, you've got an opportunity for this defense to be one of the best defensive lines you've ever had. If they don't hit, you're 3 deep again, and you're missing somebody else. And there is a potential of a couple of guys being available. I'm going to have a video over on Patreon where I'm going to talk about some guys on the open market that could be available for the San Francisco 49ers that fit this scheme if something happens and Beal and Jackson aren't available and ready to make a big-time impact.